Let's see. Houston Texans versus Chicago Bears. Fantasy football starters. Look, I like the Chicago Bears defense. Don't get me wrong. I'm on them. But Deshaun Watson is just, it's the constant kick Chicago in the nuts scenario with the quarterbacks that they should have drafted over Mitchell Trubisky. So Deshaun Watson's going to keep that parade going. He's going to score fine enough. David Johnson, he gets enough volume, and like Wayne Gallman, he's not the sexiest running back, but he does get in the end zone, so I think you could start him. I don't love the matchup. I hope you have better, but you could start him if you're in a pinch. I think he has a decent chance to get in the end zone. I would have loved Will Fuller if he didn't get himself suspended. Brandon Cooks evaluated for concussion, but he came back into the game. He'll be fine. Brandon Cooks is a start for me. I'm kind of staying away from everybody else on Houston. Maybe at tight end if you really like playing daily fantasy, but geez, I hope you don't have to play Akins or Fells or anything like that. Chicago, Trubisky is one of these sneaky starts at this point just because he can run. So if you have a league that rewards running quarterbacks, you can do that. I hope you have a better option in a one quarterback league. Superflex, I think you'd be all right with them. But you're not going to feel great about it, but you'd be all right with them. Montgomery showing some signs of life. That's nice to see. I do have him as a start against Houston. Allen Robinson's a start. I stay away from everybody else, although I do have analytically, if you're in a touchdown only or standard league, I do have a prediction that Jimmy Graham gets in the end zone. So a touchdown's going to go somewhere to a tight end this week. I don't think it's a lot of yards. It's going to be like a one catch, 3 yards, 1 touchdown type of game. Could be Komet. Could be Graham. Could be one of those guys, but I do think a touchdown goes to a tight end this week in Chicago. What do you think, David?
I would bet on Komet just because it seems like they're starting to use him.
That's what I would do if I was Chicago.
And it's pretty cut and dry with Chicago, right? Like you start Montgomery in the right matchup, you start Robinson no matter what. I don't know what the concern is with Montgomery's matchup. I think you said your system doesn't have a high projection.
Oh, I do this week.
Okay, yeah.
I do this week.
Maybe game script playing if they fall behind against the Texans, but Texans have allowed the second most fantasy points to running back. So this is another smash by. I mean, anybody who's followed the David Montgomery narrative has heard about his late season schedule. This is going to be his saving grace to save him from the awful quarterback play and offensive line and play calling play that has.
And I'm going to have to deal with another freaking year of David Montgomery hype after this stretch. But yes.
I'm starting to come back around on him.
He's fooling you.
I won't lie, because I was a believer coming out in the talent, and he runs hard. When you watch this guy, how can you say David Montgomery's not a good running back? He's just in an awful, awful system. It's going to take some major changes, though.
Chicago, yeah.
Like this year, they went from Trubisky to Foles, and they brought in Jermaine Ifedi to solve the offensive line issues, and they brought in Bill Lazor, who was Cincinnati's offensive coordinator last year, to solve the offensive coordinator issues. So they basically tried to solve all of their issues with like D- solutions. So let's see some real solutions be brought in, but let's just not toss David Montgomery by the wayside because he's not a bad runner. He runs hard.
Yep.
I'll give him that.
Yep. The line here, Houston, according to Bovada, -1.5 versus Chicago. Who you got?
I don't like picking this game at all. I'll take Chicago, though. I think I don't like it. But I just want to say one thing about the Texans, too. Kiki Kuti, he has been popping off basically any chance he's ever gotten to come into the starting lineup for the Texans. He puts up these big whopper games. The consistency isn't there, but he's got an extremely high ceiling in this offense. But I don't know who I'm picking. I'll pick whoever you pick on this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Houston here. I think Houston's playing better. They're a quality team. They had a brutal opening stretch. Don't forget about the strength of schedule they had to open the year. It might have been the worst in football. Them and Minnesota were just a brutal opening. I like Houston here. Chicago, I think, is better with Trubisky, so I'll eat my words on that from earlier in the year. I think they're a better team with Trubisky. Really, I think Chicago is a candidate to can their head coach at the end of the year. We'll see what happens. Next game on the list here, we